You're watching Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram High School Hoops, presented by Andy Citron Injury Attorneys.
And tonight we come to you from the Ann Caro Suarez Gym on the campus of Pine Forest High School. It's such a good night for basketball. Let's play two. Dan Shugart along with Christian Garman. We have a doubleheader for you tonight. The girls and the boys from Pine Forest and Washington squaring off. Lots of storylines in tonight's doubleheader. In the second game tonight, the boys game, Washington and Pine Forest. Both of those teams in something of a rebuild mode, although Pine Forest did not expect to be there. Washington certainly did. That's an ongoing project there. We'll have more on that later on in the evening. But the first game of our doubleheader, a great rivalry, Pine Forest and Washington. Both teams coming in with solid records. So Washington at 10-4. They've won 4 in a row. Pine Forest, number 2 in the state, is 10-1. They have won 10 in a row since losing their opener to McGill-Tulane. Best team in the area. It's certainly the best team in Pensacola, and should be a terrific matchup.
Yeah, like you said, both with big winning records. Both teams are ranked in the state. You know, for Pine Forest, it's a tall order. They got to slow down Janelle Jones. Washington is averaging 45 points a game. 21 of them are coming from Janelle. So if Pine Forest can put a dent in that, it would go a long way.
At least they know where to look. They look at true. Janelle Jones. With Pine Forest, they can beat you a lot of different ways. And, of course, a little mama, number 10, Tanaja Purifoy. She runs the show, just a sophomore. She plays like an experienced veteran, and really she is. She carried much of the load last year, leading the way for Pine Forest. She's a sophomore point guard. And Danielle Lucky inside had a big game last time these two teams got together. And Washington's going to have to find a way to deal with her and deal with Purifoy. And they have a lot of weapons elsewhere. Karlie Santiago can score a lot of points. So Pine Forest has a lot of players back from a very good team last year. And so they are certainly the team to beat in the Pensacola this year. So the first game of our doubleheader, Pine Forest and Washington. Tip-off coming right up. We are at Pine Forest High School, the Ann Caro Suarez Gym on the campus of Pine Forest, where we lied to you as we went to the break. We said tip-off coming right up. We just didn't say exactly when, as will happen when you put this many basketball games together. The boys' junior varsity games running a little long, so we're going to have a little bit of a late start this evening as our doubleheader, Washington and Pine Forest, will get underway. A minute 35 to go in the JV game, and by the way, Pine Forest is in the process of putting this one away, 58-35, the final.
Yeah, this
so they're
game
fouling.
Right, exactly. It's like, let the clock run. This was a good game at halftime. It was very close. But, yeah, Pine Forest has opened it up. And you can see, at least I'm looking, the Pine Forest ladies are standing courtside and ready to hit the court and start warming up. So, we are going to get things rolling. There you go. You can see them getting ready. Dan, is it usually about a 15-minute?
Well, it depends. I mean, the girls came out to shoot at halftime, get warmed up. So a lot of times when the games are running late, and they'll figure out exactly how much they want to put on the clock. Some places you go, they say 10 minutes, and we're going to get ready to go. So, we really, frankly, we won't know until they shot. We won't know until they get out there.
But you're saying they are cognizant of the fact that we're running late. Let's maybe tighten this up a little bit. The girls, as you said, warmed up a little during the halftime of this game. They'll try and move it a little bit.
They should.
If they can, yeah.
Yeah, they will.
Gotcha.
In that, the Pine Forest Washington game, and
nice shot.
It is, and then just don't foul.
Exactly. We're down to 1 minute exactly. Let it roll.
All right. Pine Forest JV team lost their two best players who were called up and made their varsity debuts last night at Choctaw.
Hadn't heard them much. And, up 21 right now, and that's a great shot. Wow, that was beautiful.
Yeah, so they're they're obviously the underclass at Pine Forest are doing pretty well. Yeah, it was Quan Calvert and Ozell Purifoy both made their varsity debuts at Choctaw, and Calvert scored 15 against Choctaw, and it was a big Choctaw win. Choctaw, I think, has kind of established themselves as the best boys team in the area for sure.
Well, Calvert, to get called up and then lead the team, 15 points, it's an incredible night for the junior.
Well, it really was. Junior, and he was one of those.
Big three there.
There you go. And he was disappointed that he wasn't with the varsity at the beginning of the year. There are two ways to handle that. as a junior and you say, hey, you're going to start the year on the JV, you can either head south or you can get going, and he got going.
Yeah, no doubt.
And has held it together, and he's helping this team, and we'll have more on him as we get ready to go. Washington mercifully holding the ball for the final 10 seconds, and Pine Forest will win this JV game 65-39. And the girls' teams from Washington and Pine Forest ready to take the court for the first game of our doubleheader. And they did put 10 minutes on the clock, so the teams will warm up. Of course, the secret is you can put 10 minutes on the clock, and when they actually start that clock will tell us more.
Dan, we were talking about in the open that this is a great matchup. It's two teams ranked in the state, Washington at 10, Pine Forest number 2 in the state. Just in looking at the team stats, I wanted to ask you how much you can read into something like this. As it stands, Pine Forest averaging about 56 points a game, Washington averaging about 46 points a game. How much does something like that usually end up mattering, or maybe not at all?
It depends on who you play. I mean, it's probably fairly indicative this deep into the season. You've played enough games, and there's maybe enough of a cross-section of your opposition. And Washington's played a tough schedule. And but they also, there's not a great depth of scoring at Washington. And Jade Brown, the head coach at Washington in her 8th year, was telling us about she's got young players coming in and really trying to establish it. Of course, they lost Jayla Roberts, who signed with North Alabama, terrific player and really a leader on this team. But Janelle Jones is back. She's already signed with South Alabama. She is and has been for years really a premier player in the area, and she leads the way. But a lot has fallen in her lap that Jayla Roberts took care of last year. And not just Jayla Roberts, Kenzie Hughes graduated off last year's team, good shooter. So there were some weapons that they lost from last year's team. And Washington really needs some players to step up. And they've had a few. Trinity Lewis wears number 1 for Washington. She's a freshman guard, averaging 4.5 points. And she has played really, really well. And Jasmine Mays, sophomore, has played well. She's battled a bit of an injury, so she's another one who's played pretty well. But Zaniyah Clark, who they counted on a great deal, tore an ACL in the 3rd game of the season. She was the starting point guard. When you have a young team, you lose your point guard 3 games in. That's a tough thing to handle.
That's your leader on the court, and that's a big deal, as you said, especially when your team is young. I mean, even under the best of circumstances, that's going to be a significant impact. Dan, while we wait for this next game, and by the way, they did start rolling the clock, so officially listed right now 8:27, 26, 25. I wanted to ask you about Coach Godwin. You were talking to me before we went on the air about her legacy, her incredible work from team to team here in Northwest Florida.
Well, she played for Ronnie and Janice Bond at Washington, made it to a couple of Final Fours with that program, and she coached down at Northwest Florida State when it was Okaloosa Walton Community College. She came back, coached Woodham, got to the Final Four with Woodham. When Woodham the high school was closed, she came over to Pine Forest, made it to 3 Final Fours, won the championship with a perfect record in 2015. Then she stepped away from coaching for a couple of years, came back last year, and she has a talented group. If you remember watching the Ronnie and Janice Bond Washington teams, they didn't beat themselves. Obviously had great athletes, but there was this incredible commitment, this attention to detail that you see in great coaches and well-coached teams, no matter what the sport, no matter what the level. And those Washington teams, the dynasty at Washington for all those years, has rubbed off on a lot of the players who played there. And Chris is certainly one of those, and has carried on that legacy. And what she has done both here and at Woodham before is really remarkable.
And when you talk about the attention to detail, I would think at this level, at the high school level, that's even more significant, because these are kids between the ages sometimes of 14 and 18 years old who are going to make mistakes more frequently than the next level, than the level after that. So when you can keep your students and your athletes on par and not making those mistakes at this level, it seems like that's even more impressive, because of given you're dealing with high school kids.
Yes, and she's also had some high school kids who are way ahead of schedule, And, little Mama Purifoy, Tanaja Purifoy, is just a really special player. And they've had some here, when they had the unbeaten state champions in 2015, terrific players there, but Purifoy is one of those who can really make a difference, take control of the basketball game, and she has certainly been able to do that for Pine Forest. They also, Danielle Lucky is a junior, scored 16 points, grabbed 10 rebounds last time these teams got together, which in a 14-point Pine Forest win. She really gives them a nice element inside. And then when you have Purifoy outside, or Purifoy kind of running the show from the point, it's really pretty special. Karlie Santiago is one of the players who was already here and already pretty well established on the varsity when Godwin came back 2 years ago. So she came back right before Santiago's junior year, and Karlie had to kind of get used to the way Chris Godwin was going to do things. So she played as a sophomore, and she stepped up and has really thrived. And she's averaging about 8 points a game. She's had several double-digit scoring games, and she's the kind of player who can give you some outside scoring and just do a lot of different things. And Tanaya Barnes, who wears number 14, she's averaging about 8 a game. So there's a lot of balanced scoring, but they're just people who get it. They understand what she's trying to do, and they've bought in, and that's what has made them so tough.
Just under 5 minutes to go till tip-off. Another question I had for you, Dan. We noted off the top, this is a little bit of a tale of two different kinds of offense. Washington led by Janelle Jones, such a prolific scorer, 21 points a game, and then Pine Forest a little more balanced. At this level, do you see more of one than the other? Do high school teams tend to be led by sort of a superstar, or is it a little more typical to have the balance?
Well, if they have a superstar, they'll be led by the superstar for the most part. If you go back, like for instance, a year ago, Deontay Smith was clearly, on the boys' side, was clearly the leader at Chalked Up, but you had Josh Williams, who's playing over at PSE right now, and as the guard, and he kind of, sort of had the little mama Purifoy role with that team, really ran the show, and, it was when Josh Williams set the tone to a great degree, but Deontay Smith was, who's gone on to TCU, was really one of the, the star that they really look to when they needed something. So if you have the star, people are going to look to him.
Of course.
And if you have a lot of balance, the stars will make sure everybody gets involved. All right, we're a few minutes away from tipping off here at Pine Forest in Washington. First game of our doubleheader. The girls are on the court getting ready to go. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back from Ann Caro Suarez Gym at Pine Forest. All right, we're back getting ready to go, about 2.5 minutes away from getting things started here at Pine Forest High School, Washington and Pine Forest. A doubleheader, girls playing this first game. The guys will follow along about 20 minutes after that.
Dan, this is great. I mean, a couple of ranked teams here. This is an exciting game we've got coming up starting in just a couple of minutes. I'm pretty pumped to see this.
Pine Forest is ranked number 2 in the state. They lost their opener to McGill-Tulane. I believe it by 3 points in that game. They've run off 10 wins in a row since then, and they've been challenged along the way, but for the most part, they've been a pretty dominant team. They are exceptionally tough defensively.
And for what it's
Pine Forest won the first meeting between these two teams, 49-35.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, for what it's worth, which is actually, it's not worth anything, but we had the camera fixed there on Washington warming up. They are lighting it up in warm-ups. They made like 9 straight bombs. There's another one, just continuing to knock these shots down. So, again, it's like hitting the drive straight during on the driving range. It's a little different when the game starts, but it was pretty funny. It's just boom, there's another one, just boom, 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 boom.
Well, in a few minutes there will be a hand in their face.
Yeah, so it changes. I understand. Believe me, no one knows more than I what defense can do to a shot. I've been on the receiving end of some ugly releases.
Washington has 8 players suited up tonight. They had 9 at the year, and then, of course, Zanaya Clark went out with the ACL. So they have 8 players, so depth certainly is going to be an issue for them. And they had, even in the 14-point loss to Pine Forest earlier in the year, they were down 5 at the half, down 2 late in the third. So it's one of those, and Pine Forest loves to put some defensive pressure on you. So it's one of those things where it's, so it's one of those things where you try try to hang in there as best you can.
Will Pine Forest be, do they like to put pressure on throughout the game, Dan?
Pine Forest will do that for the most part, but
we got about 15 seconds left here before the ladies get going, so it's almost game time, and the captains are out there at midcourt. The referee's having a chat with the lady captains.
And there's Jade, you see in the foreground, Jade Brown to the right, and Chris Godwin to the left, the two coaches of these teams. And
big crowd. Nice crowd here.
Yeah, and the weather was a little threatening. I know we have very big concerns for the weather tomorrow, but there's also
I got rained on a little bit on the way over. It's okay. Like you said, I think tomorrow's much worse, so glad we're going to get this game in and out.
All right.
It's fun to be in a gym. This is great. Just love it. High school hoops. Look at that. Having a good time.
All right. Well, the starting lineups for tonight let's take a look first of all at the visiting team, the Washington Wildcats. They will start Trinity Lewis, a freshman guard, 5'8". She's averaging 4.5 points, 3 rebounds for the Wildcats. Janelle Jones, 5'9" senior, who's already signed with the University of South Alabama. She's averaging 21 and 7 rebounds. Teresa Stallworth, a 6-foot junior, wears number 15. Keisha Wilkins also starts, a 5'5" junior, averaging 3 points and a rebound and a half. And Jemiah Bryant, 6'1" junior, another double-digit scorer, 10 points and 7.5 rebounds. Jemiah Bryant is the second option. Janelle Jones and Jemiah Bryant. Starting for Pine Forest, Little Mama Purifoy wearing number 10. Jumping center for Pine Forest is Danielle Lucky. Pine Forest wins the tip. Karlie Santiago, Tania Barnes, and Jadaisha Young. That's your starting 5 for Pine Forest. To the Eagles, there's Purifoy launching the 3. That's off the mark. And it goes out of bounds, and it'll stay with Pine Forest as it went off Janelle Jones' hand.
It's a great pump fake to Purifoy that wide open shot. So got to stay on your feet. Gonna fly right by you. Here's a bomb. Woo!
And that is knocking that one down is Karlie Santiago, getting the first bucket, and it's a 3.
Yeah, from deep too. That's NBA level 3 right there.
Okay, that is out front Janelle Jones, who had done a lot of her best work in down low. She's sort of forced in a position of having to run the point, at least on that trip down the floor. She'll do both. They'll put her wherever they need her most, but of course losing the point guard to an injury early in the year, and Janelle Jones has had to pick up some of that slack. Nice block shot, and then Janelle Jones is stripped by Purifoy. Trying to run.
That's great hustle from Purifoy to get that steal right back.
She will be everywhere.
Okay.
3-pointer on the way, and that is good. And that's Jadaisha Young hitting the 3.
An ideal start for Pine Forest with a big defensive possession and a couple of 3s.
All right, that's Washington. That's Jemiah Bryant away from the basket, trying to find some room to work. Danielle Lucky on her. Man-to-man defense for Pine Forest. There's Santiago pressuring the ball. Keisha Wilkins out front with the ball. Now it's Janelle Jones on the side. Down low she goes. And laying it up and in. And Trinity Lewis.
Yeah. Great interior pass there from Jones, too.
Ball's turned over by Pine Forest and stolen back.
Wow.
And a 3-point opportunity for Danielle Lucky.
That's another hustle play for Pine Forest there. Turns it over, gets it right back, and puts it in on the foul. Big time play.
Kind of smiling about it because they had to turn over and made a nice play to get it back. And Danielle Lucky with a chance to convert the old-fashioned 3-point play.
Nicely done. Converted. and gives Pine Forest a chance to put a little pressure on there, picking her up full court. That's a bad foul there.
Jadaisha Young picks up the foul.
Never love a foul 60 feet from the basket early in the first.
Well, you do find out how they're going to call it.
Boy, the glass is half full for you, isn't it, Dan?
Well, it is. It's spoken like a man who's fouled 60 feet from the basket, all alone underneath.
Travel.
And, yep. Got a little too excited inside. Trinity Lewis, a freshman, was all alone, got the pass, and
forgot the dribble.
Bob Tyler replay. You can see she just put it on the floor once.
Great pass.
Santiago with the pass. And Tania Barnes with the basket.
11-2, big start for Pine Forest here.
And now the double team and the steal, and that's Purifoy.
Oh, look at this. You said she'd be everywhere.
And banging the boards and putting it in is Danielle Lucky.
Man, Purifoy. That was impressive with that steal and the attempted reverse. Another steal.
Knock loose. Santiago. Purifoy had a look. Gets it off to Lucky, and Lucky will go to the line.
Boy, Purifoy is constantly looking for who's open. Really impressive. Great move there. Look at that dish.
Fouls on Jemiah Bryant, I believe. Her first. And Pine Forest racing out to the lead. And, you know, in Washington, we talked about it on the pregame show as Bryant tries to complete the hit the 2 free throws, Andy Citron free throws, and she is 2 for 2 from the line. Pine Forest, very good free throw shooting team. They have all the elements of a team that can do well in the postseason. They're balanced. They have terrific point guard play. Danielle Lucky gives them some strength inside as well. And I was about to say they do a nice job hitting free throws as well. Timeout on the court.
20-second call by Washington.
All right, so 20-second timeout, so it'll be a quick one. 4:38 to play first quarter. It's a 14-2 Pine Forest lead.
And on top of the fact that Pine Forest is just looking really sharp, Washington's been a little careless. They've got several turnovers already. I mean, we're not even halfway through the first yet.
Well, again, you're running into a situation where you've shaken up the backcourt a bit, and some players are playing, not where you would, ideally have them playing if you have your full complement, and having to deal with that pressure. And even under the best of circumstances, if everybody's healthy, Pine Forest is a challenge defensively, and so there have been a few cases where Pine Forest has done a really good job of finding who they might be able to pressure and forcing the turnover.
They've definitely done that well so far. Washington, no doubt, addressed that in the timeout. Looks like they're going to put them up full court, though, again, Dan. That pressure continues.
Straight man-to-man, and spinning out. That's Jasmine Mays.
So when you do break it like that, it creates an opportunity. Mays not able to finish, but
to stay with Washington. Jasmine Mays just checked into the game. Trinity Lewis, the freshman, is out. Court. Mays out front. Mays, the sophomore. Deflected by Santiago out of bounds.
Yeah, that worked out well for Washington because that ball was flying out of bounds either way.
Down low they go.
Beautiful
Jones.
spin move there from Jones.
And looking back out to Jones for 3. That's off the mark. And now putting it back up in and drawing the foul inside. That was Jemiah Bryant. I was interested because Bryant had that offensive rebound, and the Bob Tyler, that's the foul she drew. The offensive rebound on the Bob Tyler replay and kicked it straight out to Jones for the three. It looked like she had an open look underneath.
Yep, she sure did. You know, and that comes with it too. When you've got a superstar, that was very flat free throw. When you've got the superstar, you can't help but look. Even when you, like you said, you had the two right there. But it's hard to pass up Janelle Jones, who's wide open from behind the arc.
Bryant misses them both. Nice look by Santiago. She found Lucky.
Another great pass.
Now inside and blocked out of bounds. Nice job defensively knocking it out of bounds. That was Teresa Stallworth wearing number 15.
I've loved, Dan, you know, we've done 2 games now. Well, we're early in this one. A lot of unselfish play. That's been an impressive theme, and I love to see it at this level. It's awesome.
And Purifoy said, all right, let's set it up again.
Yep. Washington playing man, just as Pine Forest is.
Hand check by Janelle Jones. So another second foul on Washington. That's the first foul on Jones. And it's it's pretty much any night with Washington. You hope you don't hear a lot of whistles anyway. You don't want the game called too tightly because they don't have the fouls to give with only 8 players suiting up. Great look inside. Lucky kicks it back out.
Boom.
Tania Barnes.
Man, she's got 5 now. Pine Forest is all about who is open. I love how they move that ball. Really impressive. And up 16-2.
There's a three-pointer on the way. That is off the mark and out of bounds. That was Keisha Wilkins missing that one.
So Pine Forest up very big. Remember, Washington's ranked 10th in the state. This is a good team.
Launching the three again.
Follows up her own shot.
Shadesha Young who did that. And Washington unable to keep it in bounds. Is trying to track it down was Keisha Wilkins. Couldn't do it.
It's a good effort. Not able to. It stays right here.
Three-pointers off the mark.
Pine Forest has 3 3-pointers already, and they keep shooting from deep.
Trinity Lewis back in the ballgame. Cam with the rebound. Tried to dribble it out of there. And Santiago will inbound for Pine Forest. So the Eagles, boy, the pressure never lets up.
Yep.
Purifoy. Tania Barnes setting the screen, and that pass chased down in the corner by Santiago. That's Barnes again.
She's now got 8, and that's the 4th 3-pointer for Pine Forest in the quarter.
Flying in on the boards and scoring.
It's well done off the Jones miss. A fine follow-up.
That was Jemiah Bryant.
Look at this, the scoop.
Well, minute 44 to go in the first quarter. See if Washington can get a couple of baskets here to kind of get back in this thing. That's a little short. I really think Jasmine Mays thought she'd made that.
You get the feeling Janelle Jones is really trying to get something going. The last 2 possessions, she kind of took over. One of them, she missed the shot, and then there she took it all and found the open person. I think she knows this is a down 15 early. This is something she's got to kind of try and figure out on her own for a minute.
Mays on Purifoy. Mays the best on-ball defender they have in the backcourt. And knocked out of bounds. It'll go to Washington. Driving down the lane was Lucky and had it knocked. It looked like Trinity Lewis reached in and got a hand on it to knock it out.
But as you said, Dan, the pressure relentless, and looks like now not even straight man. Pine Forest applying an actual press. Now they're back to man now.
And a hand check called on Danielle Lucky. Inbounding, that's Jemiah Bryant trying to get it to Keisha Wilkins.
Nice defensive play there.
Danielle can't save it. Man, what an effort.
Great effort. She's been all over the place, including that terrific steal earlier where she made the bucket and got fouled.
All right, Bryant has it out front.
I think the Wildcats maybe thinking hold it for
Last shot. Yeah, it's go regroup. Big first quarter for Pine Forest. Ten seconds.
Here's the move.
Bryant. Got an offensive foul. Yeah, she pushed off. She did indeed. You see the pushed off with the left arm to buy herself a little room, and that's big because it's her second foul here at the final 4 seconds of the first quarter.
Pine Forest going to have to try and go the length of the court in 4.4.
Or not.
Here they come.
Santiago. All right, a huge first quarter for Pine Forest as they lead the Wildcats 19-4. The Eagles opening the big lead here on High School Hoops.
Okay, they can't stop what they can't hold. Can't rock where they can't go. Can't top what just can't flop, cause I know the things they can't know.
All right, we played a big first quarter for the Pine Forest Eagles as they put 19 points on the board, a 19-4 lead over Washington. And Washington's also got a little bit of foul trouble. Jemiah Bryant picked up 2 fouls in that first quarter. And the Wildcats had a hard time getting any kind of offense going. And Janelle Jones has her pocket picked by Purifoy, and Jones got back defensively to prevent the basket, or at least for the moment. That's Janiyah Perry with the 3.
Getting in on the fun. That is the 5th three-pointer of the night for Pine Forest, now leading at 22-4.
Janiyah Perry, the transfer from PHS. She had 3 three-pointers in last night's win over West Florida Tech.
Another turnover for Washington. And this quarter is starting the way the last one ended. Jump ball, looks like.
Alternate possession will
Like it's
stay with Pine Forest. Bryant checks back into the ball game.
Dan, Pine Forest hitting 5 threes this quickly. They are traditionally really good 4 threes. Really good shooting team from behind.
Pine Forest is. Pine Forest is a good shooting team, period. And they are a really disciplined shooting team. A good, really good free throw shooting team.
And there's another steal.
But that misses the mark. But every 3 that they've taken, there's been no rushed threes. They've been open threes.
Totally. And that's a tribute to the fact that they move the ball beautifully. They continue to look for who's open.
Good screen.
Sure was.
And Janelle Jones goes baseline and gets it. Gets a second chance. Still looking. And that ball's going to go to Pine Forest, I believe. It is.
Wildcats are just ice cold. I mean, that was a couple of good looks, and they just can't get it to go.
Well, and it's you know, what Jade Brown, the Washington coach, is saying is that it's one of those
great
situations where Janelle Jones really does have to do a lot of different things for this team. Here she is leading the break up the floor, but maybe having to do too much.
She had a wonderful defensive play there, but maybe you're right. Really trying to force it there. Here you can see her on the break.
And in traffic, and of course, Purifoy's hands so quick.
She's, that's the call of the night. You said she'd be everywhere. She has been everywhere. That's a little long. Or was it a pass?
And on the sideline, and Washington will get the ball down 22-4. Not quite 2 minutes into the second quarter. Here she steps on the baseline on the Bob Tyler replay.
Asking for the backcourt.
The backcourt violation. Boy, you saw that one coming. And that's Trinity Lewis, the freshman, who's going to be a terrific player and is a terrific player. But boy, when she develops with the experience she gets as a freshman here, she has tremendous, tremendous potential. Timeout on the floor. It's a full timeout, so we'll take a timeout as well. 6:13 to go in the second quarter. Pine Forest up big.
Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram High School Hoops, presented by Andy Citrin Injury Attorneys.
All right, back here in the second quarter, Pine Forest looking for their 11th straight win, leading rival Washington 22-4. A three-pointer again on the way, and rebound pulled down by Jasmine Mays, the sophomore for Washington.
Nice pass.
Inside Bryant, can't get that one to go. Trinity Lewis follows it in. Trinity Lewis gets her second basket.
Wildcats needed it. Last couple of possessions, Dan, they're getting some good looks, some nice up-close shots. Finally able to convert one there. Some close misses, coupled with the fact that Pine Forest has been red hot. Difference in the game.
Into the ball game for Pine Forest. That's Aisha Stokes, number 4. Washington back in the zone. They're gonna. They would play multiple defenses anyway, but obviously in the circumstances here, they can't afford to get in the first half foul trouble. And Washington will get the ball back, down 16. Back in the lineup for the Wildcats is Keisha Wilkins, number 20, and Zanadia Thomas, who had just checked in, will come out.
Janelle bringing it up.
Down low. Back to Jones, and she is fouled. So no shot attempt. The foul.
Pine Forest has mixed it up defensively. That time, and they've done this a couple times tonight, they're playing almost like a variation on box and one, keeping someone on Jones at all times. That was more like a box on Jones and then a 1-3. And they've done that a couple of times. Stack in the middle.
Jones open for 3. That is off the mark, and the rebound out of bounds on the baseline. It'll stay with Washington. That was Janiah Perry going to the board. She was, by the way, the one called for the foul a moment ago.
Went down hard, too. Glad to see her get right back up.
Inside, and that's Trinity Lewis, and too much defensive pressure from Destiny Ladd inside.
Yeah. There's the open person.
Great look. Might have been a foul, and Washington comes out of there with it.
Jones may have gotten away with a walk, too. Thanks.
There's a loose ball. There's a good chance Purifoy's coming up with it. And reaching in and drawing the foul. That's going to be her committing the foul. That is going to be Jones once again.
How many she got?
That would be her second. Macavia House is the one running the floor, and she'll go to the line. Tip from free throw is short.
The Wildcats with only 6 points midway through the second period, but Pine Forest has slowed down a little bit. I think Washington, if they could cut this somehow to 10 1/2, they'd feel pretty good about it.
Well, House misses both of them. They've had lots of chances to get it down. They've had the ball 3 different times, 3 possessions in a row now with a chance to get it to 14, maybe get a run. That's a 3-pointer on the way. And off the mark, and Lucky with a rebound. Fell in her lap.
Nice take to the
Nice
hole.
block.
Woo! Big time, Jemiah Bryant. Yeah. I'm praising the take, and then here comes Jemiah Bryant, says, no, no, no. Did you see how she walked off? That was awesome.
There's a 3-pointer on the way, and good by Perry. Perry just had the shot blocked, so she just steps out and says, all right.
That's my kind of basketball. I don't want to go in there. Give it to me out here. So that backfires. Washington gets the huge block, and then they get burnt by the 3. Now down 19.
Bryant on the baseline. Looked like she's about to dribble into a double team. Trinity Lewis inside and tied up. That should stay with Washington. Nice job defensively by Destiny Ladd, the 6'1" senior. She played her freshman year, then gave up basketball for about a year and a half. Came back last year. Jones, that's off the mark as well. Lewis, that's no good, and pulled down by Destiny Ladd.
Janelle Jones averaging 21 on the season and has yet to score tonight.
Well, we saw it when she was at the very start of the game. She's bringing the ball up the floor, and they just haven't been able to get any offense going against this Pine Forest. All the different defensive looks on the offensive board. Lucky can't get it to go.
It's the other side of this. Pine Forest is getting a lot of second looks. It's just everything's going their way. They're playing real well.
Keisha Wilkins taking a shot on the left shoulder there.
So Pine Forest again here is kind of in this 1-3 with the box on Janelle Jones.
Inside they go to Bryant, and she is fouled against the double team.
Do you have a bonus yet? Nope.
Foul, I believe, was on House.
Gets in there.
And Bryant with the basket. So Bryant
Yes,
gets Washington their 8th point, her 4th. Santiago started the game with a 3.
Oh, follows it up. Look at
Follows that shot.
Another second chance here for Pine Forest. A step back 3.
And Lucky will go to the line, and she draws the foul. They're saying the foul before the shot attempt. So Pine Forest will inbound it, and the foul is called on Bryant. That's 3 on her.
And speaking of 3, that's 3 opportunities to score this time down the court for Pine Forest so far.
So Bryant will take a seat for the rest of the half. 1:45 to play in the second quarter. And Trinity Lewis is back in. And there goes Lucky again, follows her shot. Blocked again inside by Lewis. And the travel going to the floor.
Lucky is everywhere as well. She has been terrific. Big
Basketball
time
family. Her brother played for PHS.
Cool. Oh, that's a
Washington Janelle Jones threw the pass, and Keisha Wilkins never saw it coming. It is a transition year of sorts for Washington with Jones the only senior on the lineup.
Good D for the Wildcats here. If they get the stop, they've got to get the rebound.
He's lucky down low. And going to the line, drawing the foul, or is it? It is a foul on Teresa Stallworth. Nice move inside, little pump fake inside, and she will go to the line.
And a terrific interior pass, too, yet again. Really nice dish.
For 5 from the line tonight is Lucky. Mays and Jones out front. Mays open again. And down low she gets it. Whistle before the shot goes in, which is kind of the way it's gone for Washington tonight.
That kind of night. So still no bonus, so it's an on-the-floor foul, and Washington inbounds underneath. And call the travel.
Defensive pressure applied by Purifoy. That got her hand on the ball and drew the turnover. Janelle Jones frustrated.
What a take. What a take.
Purifoy.
She is lightning.
It's her first bucket.
Yeah, and another steal. Another good pass.
Santiago gets it back to her. Doing a nice job getting back defensively is Samaria Brooks, who got that rebound.
The Wildcats really out of sorts.
Janelle Jones fires up the off-balance shot. Really didn't have a handle on it. The Wildcats lucky to get it back with 8 seconds to go. 8.7 in a 28-8 first half. Jones gets her first bucket of the half, and it comes with 4 seconds to go. Santiago, that almost went. Well, it's been all Pine Forest here in the first half as they'll take an 18-point lead into the locker room. It is 28-10 at halftime. First game of our doubleheader, Pine Forest and Washington. And here in the girls' game, the second-ranked Eagles are winning big. Getting an indication of why Pine Forest girls basketball team's ranked second in the state, 10-1, looking for their 11th straight win and in good shape here after one half of play against Washington. It's 28-10 Pine Forest. Christian and I will be back to run through the scoring totals in that first half. Halftime here at Pine Forest. It's the Eagles up by 18.
But yeah, I did participate in sports. I went to Pensacola High School, as a matter of fact, back in the 60s. Played baseball for Fred Waters, who's a well-known baseball coach around here. Teamwork, that's the main thing that's to be learned from team sports. And nobody can do anything on their own. You need somebody to help you. And that's a great lesson to learn for anybody in life.
Pine Forest Eagles going for their 11th straight win. The Lady Eagles back on the floor. They probably didn't have a whole lot to talk about, really. They did a lot of things pretty well in that first half.
Yeah.
And there you see little Mama Purifoy.
She was incredible. She and Lucky really, to me, stole the show. They were everywhere. It was so much pressure applied from Pine Forest, and Washington, frankly, was having a really hard time handling it, which again doesn't come as any surprise given the fact that they did lose a point guard early on, and Pine Forest, as you noted, even under the best of circumstances, is going to be putting big time pressure. So that, I think, really stood out. Also, though, Pine Forest was red hot. I mean, they were making everything, especially in that first quarter, and took all the momentum.
Well, they started the game, hit the first 2 threes they took. It was 6-0, and then the next thing you knew, it was 19-2.
Yeah.
And as much as anything else, they're doing that at the defensive end. Right. Washington never able to really get into any kind of offensive flow. Janelle Jones, their leading scorer, averaging 21 points a game, has not scored.
I actually remember she scored just at the end of the half. So
I beg your pardon. Yeah, she did. She picked up that 10th point. You're right.
So she's got a deuce, and who knows? She may have a big second half. I'm sure that was part of the plan. I think for Washington, given that pressure from Pine Forest, it's easy for me to say sitting up here, they have got to slow things down. Trying to score quickly against Pine Forest was not going to work, and it creates opportunities for Pine Forest to break out and score quickly. So if I'm Washington, at least for the third quarter, I'm thinking about slowing this thing down and trying to just slowly get back into the game.
Well, the Pine Forest scoring is pretty balanced because you have Danielle Lucky with 7. It just seemed like more.
Yeah, right. She was everywhere. She and Purifoy, really something.
And Tania Barnes also had 7, and Janiyah Perry hit a 3 in the late going, and she finished with 6. Actually, she hit a couple of threes, actually. And so she had 6. So you have 7, 7, and 6. Jadaisha Young had 3. Karlie Santiago had 3. And little Mama Tanisha Purifoy with 2 for Pine Forest, total of 28. Washington had 4 from Trinity Lewis and 4 from Jemiah Bryant and 2 from Janelle Jones. Jemiah Bryant also picked up 3 fouls in that first half. So it was a rough first half all the way around for Washington. All right, we have a couple of minutes to go here, and with the teams now back on the floor. So we'll be back with the second half. We're going to take another break here, and we'll be back with the second half. Washington and Pine Forest, first game of our doubleheader from Pine Forest.
We're watching Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram High School Hoops, presented by Andy Citron Injury Attorneys.
All right, just about ready to go here in the second half. Washington trying to find, really first couple of minutes of this half, try to find something. Meanwhile, there's Chris Godwin and her Pine Forest Eagles feeling pretty good about their performance, I would think, in the first half of this ball game.
Anything, Dan, that comes to mind? I mentioned I thought Washington should slow things down and just try and get back into their offense. Anything that you can think of?
Well, the problem that they face is that Washington, well, for instance, in the Pensacola High game, the PHS game, they won right before Christmas. They won it by 2. They were down 9, and they put on the defensive pressure and generated some offense that way, and they've got to generate some offense from their defense. The problem is playing in a Pine Forest game, so that's really a dilemma they face. And they almost come up with a steal on Lucky, but the Eagles get it back.
Cross-court pass here.
Closing out the shooter. Nice job by Janelle Jones, and she'll be called for the foul. She thought she tied her up.
Yeah, I thought so too. I'll be curious if we get a replay of that. Look at her. She has all ball there. We'll see. Bob Tyler replay. Let's see what we got.
Well,
looks like a nice defensive play.
Well, okay, it's their 3rd foul, so we haven't played 30 seconds in the second half, and the top 2 scorers for Washington on what's already a shallow lineup have 3 fouls each. And so the Wildcats back in the zone. They would mix their defenses anyway, but now they're in zone by necessity.
Yeah.
That's Lucky. And that's blocked nicely by Bryant, I believe.
There's Jones on the loose ball pickup, going behind her back.
Yeah, got the secondary receiver. And a 3-point opportunity.
Good.
Has taken it to the basket is Jemiah Bryant.
Big play there.
Foul, I believe, was called on Tania Barnes. So Bryant gets Washington off to a good start here in the second half.
Offensive board here. Another opportunity for the Wildcats.
Nice job by Wilkins coming down with the offensive rebound. Now down low they go to Bryant again. And defensively, ball knocked out of bounds. It'll stay with Washington. "16-point ball game. Can they make any kind of a run here?" Janelle Jones hands it to Mays. That can't go. Offensive board. Jones kept it alive and gets it back. No foul there, and the ball comes out to Barnes, to Santiago.
3 opportunities to score for the Wildcats. They could not get it done after the foul.
And a hand check away from the basket. Out front.
I mean, look at Pure. Look how quick Purefoy is.
Mays is called for that foul. Jasmine Mays, the sophomore.
She is. Purefoy's a tough assignment. She's tough to guard.
And she's open.
And she drained it. It's a nice pass from Lucky.
That's the 6th three-pointer the Eagles have hit tonight, by my count. And Washington with the turnover. Mays to Jones, and 2 minutes in.
(31-12).
She covered a lot of ground.
Sure did.
With one dribble and a spin move. And a foul. That's 35 feet out there. And the foul
Here she
called
goes.
on Jadaisha Young.
If she can figure out how to finish that off, Bob Tyler instant replay there. That's a heck of a move.
And Janelle Jones gets it to go, but I think the foul occurred before the shot. It did.
Good take, though. Really strong take there. Got the ball at midcourt and just said, look out.
Jadaisha Young just picked up her 3rd foul. She'll check out, and Janiah Perry comes in. Perry hit a couple of threes in the first half.
Not a good inland there, and another turnover.
Well, the thing that Pine Forest, I would think, almost has to be careful of here with the big lead is not getting sloppy. And that's one good thing that Pine Forest teams, Chris Godwin's teams have done. And they're taking the timeout. It's going to be a 20-second timeout, so we'll keep it right here. I don't know if she saw something, but if you don't want to get with a big lead, you don't want to get sloppy, you get into some bad habits. And I don't know if she saw something or if there's...
Well, it's interesting. You know, basketball is all about kind of a feel, and you felt it because right when you said that is when Coach called the timeout. So she may have been feeling the same thing you were intoning there, that, hey, let's not get careless. We've got this thing. Let's just keep doing what we're doing.
I do intone.
Yeah. You intoned. And for the first time since I've known you, which is quite a while, you intoned accurately, which was fun to be here for that. That was a neat moment.
Clearly inspired.
Well, I'll take that as high praise. I intoned you were talking about me.
I've lost control of this show about
Wait a minute.
3 games ago.
You're implying at some point you had control of this show?
Yeah, thank you. Karlie Santiago inbounds it for Pine Forest. And that's Perry out front. Deflected nicely, but stays with Pine Forest. And Lucky ends up with the basket.
Purefoy with the pass to Lucky. It's been that duo all night long.
Three-pointer off to Marek.
Look at Purefoy.
Saved nicely, but she saved it under her own basket. And Jones gets the basket. Perry stepped inside the line this time.
Jones with the rebound running the show.
Mays will draw the foul. And the foul is on Perry.
Looks like she's going to shoot a couple here. Wildcats, I believe, 0 for 4 on the night from the line.
One out of 2 for Jazz. Mays. I'll tell you what, and we wouldn't see it. Yeah, you couldn't see a matchup like this until the postseason if it happened, but it was. But I would love to see this Pine Forest team play a Choctaw or Fort Walton Beach,
yeah,
who are the two real juggernauts in Okaloosa County.
Look at this move from Jones.
Nice. Can't get it to go.
But a matchup like that may happen. In the playoffs.
I think Chris Godwin has tried to schedule that, and it didn't work out. So, but I would love to.
Oh, nice steal, lucky. She's got those long arms. And what a pass.
And it'll be a 2-shot free throw opportunity. The foul's called on Teresa Stallworth.
Incredible outlet there for Purifoy.
Perry will go to the line. We'll check that.
So, Barnes,
Tania Barnes going to the line. Hits them both. And a traveling, yep, took one step too many. Yeah, Choctaw and Fort Walton Beach for 5A, and over in that district, it just, again, it's just whoever's not playing whom. It could be one of those you don't want them to see you before you might meet somebody in the playoffs, and there's a travel. But especially in girls basketball, but in basketball in general, promoting the game, those great matchups are the things that build the game, and I just think that everybody would be well served by those kinds of games. Now, part of it is the way the way you make the playoffs now. It's the champions go, and then you have to kind of get in on the point system, which I don't think was really completely thought through.
Well, I would love to see it. I am all in. Looks like
foul away from the basket.
I'm all in on Pine Forest. I could not be more impressed. They are awesome. I mean, you want to talk about an ideal point guard. Purifoy is just an incredible person to have running your offense. Lightning quick, always looking, can hit it if she has to.
There's a three-pointer, nice three. That one is Keisha Wilkins hitting the three.
First three of the night for the Wildcats.
Lucky. And she has a three-point chance.
Great take, power take to the hole, finishes it, and gets the foul. Let's see if she can complete this three-point play. She's got 11 on the night.
Yeah, Bryant just picked up the foul. That was her fourth. And she really, she cannot afford to pick up that foul. She knows it, and I think she really tried to avoid the foul. Lucky just draws it, gets a three-point chance. That's the only thing we've seen her.
Yeah.
The only shortcoming in her game is from the line.
3 for 6 the Lions tonight.
Trinity Lewis can't get it to go. Going to the floor, though. In a 19-point ball game, and Washington still battling for every possession.
And I mean, you know basketball. I mean, I remember certainly playing, and even now as a fan, you don't feel like it's over yet. I mean, from the outside looking in, it feels fairly insurmountable, but it's not yet. And certainly not stuff like that.
Wilkins hits another three.
Their second of the half.
They were down 21. They're down 16 now. Lucky. Rebound comes off to Janelle Jones.
Look at this great take from Jones. Oh, what a steal!
Taken from Jones. That was a nice defensive play to start it by House.
Nice to see Purifoy get to finish one. Careless turnover there.
And now Pine Forest pushing it and scoring. That's Aisha Stokes.
Getting in on the action. Why not? Back to a 20-point.
Just like that. You kind of whittle away just a little bit. You get a 21-point lead down to 16, and just that quickly, Pine Forest cashes in.
With those quick points off turnovers, too.
Trinity Lewis. That won't go. They're not getting many breaks either.
No, they're not. Because that was a great take. Everything about that with the bounce.
Double dribble. Sure. You can fumble it once, but then she dribbled it the second time and picked it up. What you see now there? Yeah, you saw the second dribble there. Yeah. You can fumble the pass, but then she put it on the floor a second time, picked it up, and double dribbled. A minute and a half to go here in the third quarter of what has been, through long stretches, a Pine Forest clinic. 22nd timeout, so we'll keep it right here with Pine Forest up 20 in this game. The Pine Eagles took control of this game early with a 19-2. They scored the first 6 points of the game, 2 quick three-pointers. Washington got a basket, and Pine Forest rattled off the next 13 points. Led 19-4 after the first quarter, and they've never been threatened seriously or otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, down 15 after the first, and now down 20, so you can see Coach Godwin still coaching, you know what I mean? Still a quarter to go. All of this stuff ends up mattering 3-4 weeks from now when you get into district play and talk about how far you're going to go. Stuff that happens here tonight may very well come up later. Coach, the legend, Coach Godwin.
And Jade Brown there trying to, and she's building. You know, this is a program with a lot of youngsters. The one senior, and Zanaya Clark, the point guard, who was injured, went out for the year in the third game of the year. Inbound pass comes the other way.
So more of the same to start the fourth one. Turnover leads to an opportunity for Pine Forest.
Nice pass by Purifoy to Lucky.
I want to buy stock in Purifoy to Lucky. I've got high confidence in that.
Hand check out near midcourt.
Yeah.
And Macavia House, I'm not sure she knows what she did yet.
And I think that's fair from our point of view.
Trap Jones.
Pine Forest, they're putting that pressure on. They're not worried about the score. They're thinking ahead. That could have been a travel for Jones, but she doesn't get it.
And then blocked inside. Nice play defensively by Stokes. Terrific play as she blocked Janelle Jones.
And the Eagles are pumped. About a half half a minute to go here.
Last 15 seconds, and Washington will just stay back, and Pine Forest will let them do it. An academic exercise at this point.
From deep. Purifoy going Steph Curry on that one. I love it.
That almost would have been fitting if it had gone.
Yeah.
43-21 after 3 quarters here at Pine Forest. The Lady Eagles putting on a clinic here on Hill Kelly High School Hoops. Alrighty, we've got 1 quarter left to play. Pine Forest by 22 over Washington, 43-21. You go into a 4th quarter, and you just want to make sure you reinforce all the good habits you've been following for the last 3 quarters.
And no injuries at this point. Up 22. Just get through the 8 minutes. Is the Purifoy. No, I'm sorry, it's not Purifoy. It's a great move, though. It's Octavia House taking it to the house. Woo! Look at that steal.
That's Purifoy. Santiago draws the foul. Foul on Jasmine Mays. Men's game coming up after probably about 20 minutes or so after the conclusion of this one. Pine Forest and Washington. Nice pass inside, but gets knocked away.
Looking to make a steal. Here she is again.
Yeah, well, that's it. And you know, it's funny because somebody turns the ball over and you see him chase it down. Usually 9 times out of 10 they commit what you would think is a silly foul. In her case, and she might be the only person on the planet, I see this every single time, it's a good defensive play coming back. I don't think I've ever seen her make a foul on that. And more often than not, well, she just did there, but I mean, it's more often than not, she makes a play. She'll turn it over, she'll get it back. Jazz Mays, sophomore, runs track.
So Purifoy's a sophomore?
Purifoy's a sophomore.
Incredible. It's a good place to be for Coach Godwin, knowing she's going to be running the show for 2.5 more seasons. Nice look.
And nice assist by Santiago, and the basket to Stokes.
Pass.
Off and running, Santiago. Stokes.
Call travel.
Yep.
But Pine Forest is not letting up, though. They are still going 100%.
Well, and the last thing in the world you want to do is, again, get sloppy or, you know, kind of mail in the last 6.5 minutes.
They're not doing that. Oh, big block.
Yep. Coast to coast. That's House. I think it was Barnes with the block, wasn't it?
Another turnover there.
And a timeout on the floor. We'll take a timeout with them. Pine Forest leads at 47-21.
You're watching Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram High School Hoops, presented by Andy Citrin Injury Attorneys.
All right, 5:58 to play here in the first game of our doubleheader on Hill Kelly High School Hoops. Pine Forest, second-ranked team in the state. The Pine Forest Eagles are less than 6 minutes away from moving to 11-1 on the year with their 11th straight win.
Yeah, interesting to see a team go 11-1 losing the first one. You don't expect that, but that's a great run, rattling off 11 after that, after the 0-1 start, which probably surprised them more than anybody. Nice take here from Jones.
Yep, she's in the vernacular, she's a pro. Ball go back to Washington. You know, as talking to Jade Brown about Janelle Jones, of course, last year, you know, the players they lost, led by Jayla Roberts from last year's team, which was really terrific, which, you know, last year's Washington beat Pine Forest in the regional playoffs to advance to the regional final. But to lose those players and know that so much more of the load, both, you know, not just the scoring load, that's going to be a foul. Not just the scoring load, but so many other responsibilities. Yeah. And I asked, you know, and she said, hey, she's accepted it all. She's been you know, she's been really tough-minded. She knew she was going to face the double team. She knew all of that and has accepted all that and embraced it. You see it here in a game that Jemiah Bryant can't get the free throw to go. In a game that was, we got away early. You know, she's still battling down the stretch.
Absolutely. And, you know, when you're a player of that caliber, you know those double teams are coming. You know that you're going to be dealing with that. And you know you're going to have bad nights. And nothing's worse. I'd say when you're used to scoring 21 a game, and at this point she sits with 6 on the night, that's frustrating. That's a bummer of a way to go into the weekend. But they've still got a long way to go, of course, in terms of the rest of the season.
And it is 1-1, so...
Yeah.
Pine Forest going to the line.
Up 24, the 1-1 will slow things down here if Washington keeps fouling, but they may not.
Purifoy. You know, if Purifoy didn't score a bunch early, I mean, she had 2 points in the first half. Now she's got 8 and 9.
Yep.
And it's going to be one of those games where here's someone who, you know, did so many other things on the floor, but from a scoring standpoint, didn't seem to be doing much. But, you know, by the time it's all over, she may end up with, you know, 13 or 14.
And that's what she averages, 13 a game. And, you know, you're right. If you told me she had no points, it wouldn't matter. She has had an amazing impact on this game.
Ty Robinson in the game for Pine Forest, number 33, the sophomore, committing that foul. And the freshman, Trinity Lewis, at the line. That's her 5th point.
Yeah, she's looked good. And she's a freshman. That's a bright spot. Under 5 now.
Oh, Lucky's coming back in for Pine Forest. 3-pointer. 3-pointer by Tanaya Barnes.
12 on the night, I believe. A big night. Ooh, jump ball.
I tell you, that's you know, Bryant picked up he's playing with 4 fouls, and battling, and loose ball, and yeah, and it's also Barnes battling as well, really.
Pine Forest now more than doubled up. Nice.
Ducking in and Bryant scoring.
Another pass.
Off the hand. Might have been a little hard for the close quarters there. It was run off Lucky's hands.
Boy, though, that's what I was saying earlier. I mean, Purifoy is just your classic point guard. She is always looking to see who she can get it. She could have easily taken that herself. Very much wants to get it to whoever's open. And here she goes again.
Barnes lets the defense clear and puts it in. Another assist for Purifoy.
Nice take. Good looking. It's 8 on the night for Jemiah Bryant. No way. The reversal.
That goes. Janelle Jones gets it to go, and
Oh, I love that take from Purifoy a second ago. Tough reverse, couldn't get it to go, but everything else about it was awesome.
Barnes has taken the team lead with 14 points for Pine Forest. Lucky's got the 13.
The Rainmaker 3 there. Or was it a pass?
And Lucky gets the basket to retake the lead.
Exactly. That's become the game within the game. Who's going to score the most for Pine Forest?
The final 3 minutes, final 2:40 of the ball game. And long rebound goes off to Pine Forest. 56-30. Pine Forest with the big lead.
Washington's going to apply some pressure here. Midcourt trap.
Now you're just working on stuff.
Exactly. Ooh, nice block. That's Jemiah Bryant. Big defensive play there. Big three from very deep. Follows up her own shot. Was Karlie Santiago rather, not able to get the three.
Washington's lowest scoring total this year. Choctaw beat them. They scored 33. So they need 3 to at least get even with that, although I'm sure that's probably the last thing on anyone's mind over there.
So Trinity Lewis will be shooting 2 here. It's a double bonus situation.
Santiago back out front to Perry. Just keep running the offense and trying not to turn it over, which they do with 2 minutes to go.
We've seen a lot of those things you talked about with Coach Godwin teams throughout the course of the night. This just terrific night for Pine Forest, doing so many things, so smart, including continuing to play to the very end here. Man, the Wildcats just cannot convert. Another great
Lucky
pass.
will score on the assist from Purifoy. 17 for Lucky.
10 this half, too. Big half.
Minute 27 to go. First game of our doubleheader. The boys game will follow roughly 20 minutes or so after the conclusion of this game. Of course, we'll present the trophy to Pine Forest for winning tonight on Hill Kelly High School Hoops. Trinity Lewis.
1 for 5 on the night now from the line there for Trinity. I'd like to see her make this one.
Well, it's, a freshman making the adjustment, and it is an adjustment no matter how good. I think maybe one of the few freshmen, for instance, Purifoy came in as a freshman last year, and people had to get adjusted to her speed.
I bet they did.
Whereas most freshmen come in and have to adjust to the speed of the game.
Look at, oh man, do I love watching her play.
Oh, she's a joy.
She is. She really is. And still pumping up her team, too.
And the pass intended for Ty Robinson, and I think Purifoy is thinking, hey, that was my bad. That was off the mark. Whether it was or not,
exactly.
she's taking it.
Right. A sophomore. So the boys' game was scheduled for 7:30. It is now 7:38.
All right, well.
I don't think we're hitting that 7:30 start.
And Santiago trying to come up with a steal on the inbounds pass. Hey, if they're going to throw it, you might as well try to pick it off. So Pine Forest moving to 11-1. Washington will fall to 10-5 and have their 4-game winning streak snapped. And that ball knocked out of bounds again with 53 seconds to go. Washington will hang on to it.
Eagles still trapping near midcourt. As you said, this is now working on stuff for the future at this point.
And the bounce can't go. And
it's her own rebound.
Yep. And an offensive foul. So nice effort by Keisha Wilkins. Or was that Jones? It was.
A foul out.
So Jones was the one called for the foul. I beg your pardon. And so Janelle Jones fouls out with 8 points. 13 below her average.
Yeah, not going to be a game she'll want to think much about after tonight. There's the look.
Nice look inside and good pass.
It's an awesome backdoor cut from Ty Robinson. I'm glad to see she got rewarded for it. Great pass. And I don't know if the Wildcats are going to get to that 33-point mark you mentioned, Dan.
And Pine Forest hit 60.
Unless they hit this.
Throwing it in is Trinity Lewis.
Yeah.
And that'll do it. Pine Forest 60-32. Most impressive, moving to 11-1 on the year. The second-ranked team in the States, winning in a rout over the Washington Wildcats. We'll be back to present the winner's trophy to Chris Godwin and her Eagles. After this break on Hill Kelly High School Hoops, Pine Forest wins the first game of our doubleheader, 60-32. Well, Pine Forest Eagles winning their 11th straight, the second-ranked team in the state, a 60-32 winner over Washington. Chris Godwin, you had to be happy, I would think, with the performance of your team, but you're so meticulous, I don't know.
No, I'm very happy. They did a great job, and we finished a full game today, and that's what we needed to do.
You know, obviously, Little Mama does so many things for you, but Danielle Lucky had a terrific game as well. And Danielle was our player of the game. She did so much stuff in the first half.
She does. We played last night. She did it last night as well, and I think they're just so excited to be back home playing because we've been out of town and on the road. So being back home, they're just ready to be here and play.
Are you seeing everything from your team that you would like to see as you're building towards a postseason?
They'll tell you no. No, I mean, there's still things always a coach is looking for, but, I'm excited about, playing in front of a big crowds and stuff. I'm happy with their performance tonight.
The defensive effort was terrific because Washington never got anything going.
No, but I can give it to them because that's all we've been saying. And down the road in this last month before we get to the playoffs is what we need to do, and that's exactly it because defense wins games.
Well, congratulations. Christian's got a trophy for you for winning our Hill Kelly High School Hoops game tonight.
Yes, Coach Godwin, and to the Lady Eagles, you're number 2 in the state. You looked every bit the part tonight. Congratulations on an incredible win. Way to go, ladies. It's heavy.
All right, Chris Godwin and the Pine Forest Eagles, 60-32 winners over Washington in the first game of our doubleheader. Congratulations, ladies.
Congratulations, ladies.
You bet. Thanks. All right, we'll be back with the second game coming up on Hill Kelly High School Hoops.